Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing 3 Minute against Alexei 1. I seem to recall this guy being a pretty darn good player. Mark Timmermans from the Netherlands. I'm just going to choose a setup. He played the Orangutan. I'm just going to choose a generic setup that I know is safe for black. I'm not going to attempt to refute this opening, because that's what your opponents want you to do when they play an offbeat opening. They want you to get into a refutation war. Should I go knight c5? What should I do? Knight c5, okay, let's do it. He'll probably play d4. He does not. Ooh, can't I get in here now, though? That looks tasty. Or do I take on c4 first? Now let's do this first. This looks like fun. Yeah, let's do this. Try to make it really tough for him to castle. Oh, okay, he's going to get around that problem. Ooh, actually, that's bad for me, isn't it? Well, maybe not. Could be bad. Let's just go back. He'll take on b5, I'm pretty certain. Oh, I could have taken on b1. But my point is, like, if he takes twice, then I could have played queen b6. Let's go here. Maybe he'll go f4 and try to crowd my bishop. c4 instead. Okay. I'm alright with this. This doesn't bother me. Okay, now maybe stick this bishop on e4, huh? Well, I'm a little wary he might play g4. g4 things could get crazy. Because I have good control over the center squares at the moment. I could take and then play bishop d3, but that's dangerous. I don't think we want to mess with that. Just castle. Let's just castle. I want to be able to retreat my bishop. I'm really afraid of g4. If he knew how afraid of g4 I was, he would play it right now. But maybe it's not that bad. Okay, let's drop this guy back. I don't think it's doing much on e4. I really want to go knight e4. I need to clear this congestion in the position. Okay, how about this now? Yeah. And if he takes on d5, I can take on e5. And his knight will be hanging. Meanwhile, I'm threatening knight d2. So I think he should probably take me on e4. So I'm just going to pre-move that. All right. That didn't happen. So let's just jump in here. Let's get this going. Let's go f6. Okay, now we're cooking. Now we have a really strong position. I might have to give my light square bishop. We're gonna hammer his weaknesses. We are gonna hammer those weaknesses, and oh no, I can't do that yet. Let's do this. Let's go h5. Keep stuff defended. Let's go back. No, let's go here. I just want to play faster now. I gotta make some progress. I want to go a6 and open it up. Okay. I'm going to try something. This guy's pretty fast. c3, that's a good move. Okay. All right, now I'm basically winning. But we'll see. I might have to beat the clock. Just trade all this stuff. Go to this end game.
Check.
See how fast I am, guys.
Check.
Let's see how fast John is.
Check. Check. Check.
Okay. Just gonna make a nice little cocoon for my king.
Check.
Try to get this guy going.
Check. Check. Check.
Okay.
Check. Check. Check.
Okay.
Check.
Ah, I ran out of time. Okay. Didn't have enough time to get the checkmate off. Probably should have. I queen on move 76 and flagged on move 92. Alright, well, I had a positional advantage. The clock caught up to me. Did I miss checkmated 1 or something at the end? Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But let's take a quick look. So as I was saying, when you face an offbeat opening like the orangutan, b4 on move 1, there's always a temptation to try to refute the opening, right? So, like one line that has been popular for a while against the orangutan is c6. The idea of going bishop b2, queen b6, and trying to take advantage of this b-file situation. But if your opponent's studying this offbeat opening and they're playing it against you, try to put yourself in their shoes. They're doing it to take you out of your comfort zone, basically. They're hoping to get you in a position that they feel at home, and you are kind of lost in the wilderness. So I think it makes sense for most people just to play some solid setup against offbeat openings. Don't try to refute their line. Don't get too fancy. Just focus on fundamental stuff, like here I'm just developing, getting my light square bishop outside of the pawn chain, because in positions where you push d5, often the light square bishop's a problem. Nothing fancy. And he's already made 5 pawn moves in the first 6 moves. I think I did misplay it here. I thought my light square bishop would get much more entrenched on d3 than it actually did in the game. So let me just see if I missed something in this position. I could take on c4 first. Maybe that's stronger. Okay. Computer says knight d3.
Check.
Knight takes d5 instead. So if knight takes d5 and then here I assume knight b4 is the difference with this idea, and maybe queen d5 to come, eyeing g2. So then I can make it difficult for him to castle. Okay. Interesting. Instead I took with the e-pawn. That was maybe not so good. I missed knight e5. I didn't see that coming. But this position out of the opening, I think is fine. I didn't have a problem with this for black. I have some trouble with my light square bishop. I was mentioning the g4 move. I was just a little frightened about that move because if he pushes g5, then he might be able to capture on e4 when I won't be able to take back with the knight. And I really want to keep these pawns together, d5, c4. So I don't want to assign my d-pawn the task of capturing his knight should he capture on e4. So I see the engine isn't really that concerned about it. Oh, it says bishop b4. That's interesting. So that if g5, I can insert this capture, get him to take, and then move my knight away. And I've got this awesome light square bishop. So it looks like the engine's not overly concerned about that, but I don't know. That would have been hard to find in the game. I'll kind of fast forward through this because I think I talked about it pretty well in the game. But yeah, I had some congestion on the e4 square. I'd really like to get my knight in there and exchange knights with him so that my bishop has a uncontested post on this square. And I don't have to worry about whether he's going to take that bishop at any moment. Or if he's going to play something like g4. Yeah, this bishop b4 idea is worth remembering. I always forget about this move in structures where the pawns are like this. That's a good way of getting rid of the defender of the e4 square. I just have a tendency to forget about that. So queen f3, and I jumped in. My idea was that if he takes here, I can take on e5. And when he recaptures, his knight's hanging. loose piece. So we got this position. I wonder what the engine was saying. Oh, okay, so he missed potential knight takes c4 move. I missed that too. And the idea is that if I take here, he can capture on e4, because he deflected my defender, one of my defenders, from the e4 square. So how would I have dealt with knight takes c4? This is apparently a good move. Okay. And if here, I guess I take with the bishop, and once his queen moves, I can take his knight. And if knight e5, I guess I can jump into d2 and win the exchange, but the computer thinks it's not that bad for him. He gets another pawn, it looks like. Okay. Yeah, because once we get this set up right here, I'm loving my position. Because his knight is going to get kicked out of e5. I have fantastic control of the light squares. And he's got this permanently backward e3 pawn. Strategically speaking, this is a win for black. No doubt about it. It would take me a lot of convincing to dissuade me from that opinion. I think black should win. Even with mediocre play, I think black could win from here. Because his pieces just lack scope. You see how how committed he is to the dark squares in this position? This is a bad sign. When you have like every piece on one color complex, almost always a bad sign. So the light squares is just a total nightmare for him. I don't know if I had to rush the bishop e4 move. I was getting lower on time here. As you can see, consistent problem for me, and especially in this game. So I was trying to load up on the e3 pawn. Okay, so I missed some tactics, like rook takes e3 would have been good here. Yeah, I figured I missed tactics like this, because this rook is overloaded. It was trying to guard the pawn on e3 and also the rook on c2. So if he takes, I can take here now. Or take there first and then take on c2. Yeah, and if he takes with his queen, I take. And if he takes with the king to keep this rook guarding that rook, guess what? He gets mated.
Checkmate.
So this is a tricky spot to be in, because I know this guy's going to be playing super fast. It's his only chance. This time. He's not going to win this on position, that's for sure. And if I take, like, an extended amount of time to find a tactic, I could just easily lose on time. So I was in this awkward situation where I wanted to look for the tactics, but the time didn't warrant me spending more than, like 5 seconds at the most looking for a knockout. And I kind of moved back and forth and eventually tried to open a second front on the queen side, which is usually a good idea when you're trying to attack multiple weaknesses, right? Principle of 2 weaknesses. Yeah, I was surprised he didn't take with the rook here. I thought he would do that. So fortunately, I found this c3 move coming up. Yeah, right here. After which it's looking really good for me, but I did wonder about f5. I saw that move in the game. I thought he might try it. I was just going to... Well, if I take here, he takes on h5, and then probably plays rook a8. I guess rook a8's not a big deal. I can escape the checks. Take here.
Check.
King g6. Huh, wow.
Check.
I give up my queen,
Check.
the engine says. Oh, and this pawn's about to promote. Interesting. But yeah, f5 take here. I guess he can take here, and somehow it's like drawish. 0.00. So f5 should have been played. I guess I take with the queen, and I'm still doing pretty well, but he did that. Yeah, now it's just a race against the clock that I didn't win.
Check.
Possibly
Check.
I should have tried to keep some material on the board and made him somehow, but 12 seconds, not a lot of time to win this position. So, all right, hope you guys enjoyed that one. And if you have any feedback, please leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.